Sunday, the 27th of July. Everyone relax. This is Two Guys, One Cup, a footy adjacent podcast. My name is Charlie Clausen, and before I introduce my special guest, let me talk about scheduling. Sometimes when you have a special guest come on your podcast, you make allowances. You want to work around them. And so with this particular guest, I said, look, we normally record Sunday evening. Have you got any plans? And my guest said, yeah, look, I'm thinking I'm going out for dinner. And I said, okay, that's fine. Why don't we do a 5:30 podcast? And in my head, I'm like, well, I'll know how the Saints are going, by about halfway through the game. So I'm not looking to apportion any blame here. At halftime, the Saints are getting a horrible game. We look terrible. I text my guest and I say, hey, mate, do you reckon you could give me an extra half hour just to see if we could turn the tide a little bit? I get 10 minutes into the third quarter, not turning the tide really at all. So I decide to jump on a tram to come back to my apartment to record said episode with my very special guest, Alex Williams, who couldn't give me another fucking half an hour to watch one of the greatest comebacks in St Kilda's history.
I'm so sorry, dude. I am so sorry, as well as you guys. As Naz took that second last amazing mark, I texted you going, you didn't leave, did you? Like, just to hammer it in at the end, just in case.
Oh, dude. I mean,
no one saw that coming. I've been talking to a friend of mine who's a big Saints supporter, and I've been sort of saying to him for the last, couple of weeks, hey, look, honourable losses here, protect the draft pick, this is perfect. You guys come back, you show a bit of ticker, but your young guys are getting out there, they're playing well, Hall's playing well, Naz is playing well, and but you protect the pick.
That's right.
But then in moments like that was one of the best comebacks I have ever seen. And you guys were electric. It's a club lifter.
Considering the narrative around Nas, that's what makes it significant, because the whole time, look, to paint a picture for you, it was a real weird game, like 20 odd thousand, they'd closed the top level because they thought the numbers were going to be so low. And there was just no atmosphere. Like, Demons fans weren't even really enjoying them dominating us. It just was a flat, horrible, ugly game. So we were just talking amongst each other as Saints fans. And there's so much anxiety around Nas not signing. And we were sort of running through, have we done enough to make him feel like he belongs to the club? Have we done enough for his family? Have we done enough for him? Does he feel loved? You might have seen on my socials that we shared around this thing that the 7-minute mark will stand up and we'll clap for our number 7, which
didn't see that.
Which me and only one other person did. So if Naz
I love
resigns,
that you committed, though. I love that you committed to that.
But then something like that, right? Like, to see the way, not only to see the way he took it on to because if he didn't give a shit, he wouldn't have fucking tried so hard in that last quarter. And then to see the way they got around him when he kicked, not only kicked any score will do, he fucking kicked a goal.
Yeah, straight through the middle.
Straight through the middle.
I thought the first one where he basically, I was showing my girlfriend, she's a very lucky person. I was showing her the marks of the year and the goals of the year since 2001 last night.
Not watching the life drain from her eye.
Yeah, well, she came to her first proper game on Friday night after 10 years of trying to avoid them, and then she sort of asked, what are the goals of the year, marks of the year, and then seeing Nas jump up like that, I was like, well, that's what it looks like, That was incredible.
Yeah.
And the wherewithal to put him forward, isolate him one-on-one, and then of course he just kicks them both because he is a god. He is my favorite player outside the Giants, has been all year. I watch far too much Saints football.
Yeah, earlier in the year, I remember you sent me a message saying, this Naz kid, I want one. He's got wheels. Yeah. I know. I mean, it's just so important that we hang on to him now. It's just because it's been so long since we've had a star that we've created from the ground up.
100%.
Jack Steele came from GWS. We bring players in, Brad Hill, all those kind of players. But this one, and I'm hoping it feels like a Ross Lyon Naz connection.
Yeah.
That's what because Ross even sort of said in his presser a couple of days ago, we're going to try Naz up forward just to sort of say, we know he can play backline. We know he can play midfield. Let's see what he does up forward. Turns out
pretty good.
Yeah. Bit of a clutch forward.
I can completely understand that anxiety. I mean, I was kind of trying to compare it to you know, a Giants player, but I kind of couldn't, you know, because we have had, you know,
so many stars.
Yeah, well, Jeremy Cameron was the big one that we lost, that we didn't want to, but we still got a Coleman.
And what's he been doing lately?
Exactly.
Anyway,
What, 11 goals. Who cares? We don't need that. He, you know, he did his time. You know, he did 8 years, 10 years. You kind of can't begrudge them at that point. But Nas, you know, who looks now like a steal in his draft at pick 11 or 12 or whatever.
13, I think, but after concessions and draft.
Sorry. But he was, you know, a steal in that draft, and then to like convert that into developing him into like basically maybe the number one player in the competition now. It's looking that way. A Brownlow fancy, especially next year. I mean, you can see it, right? Like he's the savior of St Kilda, and to lose him after that amount of time, I would just feel I'd hate to see it.
I have it on pretty good authority that he hasn't signed.
Right.
And that might just be a function of negotiations. Like, you know, I mean, if he wins our best and fairest, his agent could well and truly say, hey, like, would like another 250,000, thanks. You know what I mean? Which probably he will. He'll win our best and fairest by a mile.
He will.
But never in our wildest dreams did I think any Saints. We thought maybe what we were getting would be like a pretty decent halfback flank, good user of the ball, lightly framed. But he's just going into beast mode now, where he's good in the contest. I've never seen him take a hanger before. Like it's like he's an X-Man who's just like uncovering new mutant abilities with each game.
It's funny because he sort of, as a halfback, you were like elite halfback, could be all Australian, and then they moved him into the. I remember when they switched him into the midfield. Because I was traveling with someone, you know, through Japan, watching all the Saints.
We can call him by his name, Bart.
And you know, of course, that means I'm watching it, I'm hearing it, and you know, we're sitting on the streets, and he got moved into the midfield, and he was just, you know, exploding. I mean, even today, his first half was a little, you know, there was some kind of clangers there, and then in the second half, he just went mental. I mean, to lose a player is one thing, but to lose them to Adelaide is just, we can't be having.
Look, the reason I don't think he's going is just the pure mechanics of how you'd get it, because he would have to hate the club and just want to leave, because he can't. With no trade is going to be facilitated, because Adelaide and Port don't have anything to offer.
Port Adelaide don't have the
unless they're going
to capital,
unless they're wanting to give up like Butters or Rosie and then something else. Like that's.
But even then, Butters has to he's got to agree to go to the Saints. You
exactly.
Know? Like
so
there's a whole other thing.
He'd be forced into the draft, and he's not going to fucking North Melbourne or Richmond. Like
no.
So. I think that it's really just a question of how many zeros are on the contract now.
So what's reported? It's sort of I know we're getting into the weeds with the Saints stuff, but it's like 1.3, 1.4 for the next 2.
1.4 a year for the next 2 years. And from what and again, this is total fucking two guys one cup speculation.
Oh, I love it.
The people, the rusted-ons I've been speaking to, is that the Saints are pushing for longer. They wanted obviously like 4 or 5 years, but his manager very rightly said, no, we want to go to free agency and then we'll reassess, because there is some uncertainty. Ross Lyon's contract's only for 2 more years. And so I think they want to know, well, is Ross going to extend, or is it going to be Corey Enright, or is it going to be someone new? Because that will affect whether or not he re-signs. I think that's fine. I think 2 years is that's a good incentive for the club to get their shit together. Yeah, let's lock away him for 2 years. Bring in TDK, bring in Leek and Lear, bring in whoever else, and then you've got 2 years to fucking like get your shit together, play finals or whatever the benchmark has to be.
I also think that over the last 3 years, I mean, the Saints have historically drafted terribly, but over the last 3 years, you guys have drafted really well. So the next 2 years would give those guys also time to kind of, you know, rise with him. And I feel like then you're more likely to keep him. I remember back in the day, Josh Kelly signed a 2+7. So there was like a trigger both ways, you know, so you sign the 2 and then the 7 extension, and he could trigger it or leave. And it kind of worked quite well, because by that point he's so ingrained in the club. He's a vice captain. It's, you know, it works. So man, I'm praying. I pray for you. I pray for you that Nas signs, because I have secondhand anxiety.
Yeah, it's giving me more anxiety than I thought it would. Like I honestly, when I go on Twitter, that I'm actually searching like Nasai news. Like, there's got to be some announcement.
Yeah, you're in full enough areas when you're on Twitter searching the names.
Like,
but I've been there.
As if some fucking like anonymous, faceless troll, with a bunch of numbers in their profile is going to have insight into the status of his contract. God, but good timing to have you guesting in for Will, because the Giants if the Saints had one of the best comebacks of the round, the Giants had one of the most terrifying comebacks of the round. Terrifying for the rest of the 8. Like, were you at that game?
Yeah, I was.
Is that the best quarter and a half of footy you've seen them play all year?
That third quarter, I was saying it to people after the game, is the best quarter of football I've seen from the Giants in their existence. It was dominant. At halftime, my friend Brandon was sort of just sitting there, who I do a podcast with, was just sort of sitting there angrily looking at the TV, disappointed, really disappointed.
I'm glad that in his like a year and 18 months of following football, you've managed to kind of take him through the entire like emotional cycle of being
he's
an
so
AFL
in
fan.
He's so in it's not funny. And he was really looking for a response, because he's been a Giants, an AFL fan for a year and a half, almost 2 years, and not once has he seen the Giants beat the Swans. We've lost to them, the 5 times that we've played them. So he really wanted the win. And then to see them come out in that third quarter, and it was as soon as they bounced the ball, the intensity, the chasing, I mean, also kicking some of the most goals I've seen. They just, when they do that kind of stuff, you wonder why they ever bother playing that kind of
like a chip mark game.
Yeah, but this whole like switching the flicking the switch thing.
Yeah.
It's so frustrating. But then when you see it, you go, well, maybe that's all it takes. You just have one of those quarters and you can blitz teams.
Look, and I've been on the record saying that Sydney are not one of my favorite teams.
I know.
And so I understand the game needs pests. I understand that the game needs personalities, but there is something about Tom Papley that drives me fucking up the wall. And so the poetic justice of Tom Papley to be like gobbing off, giving Jake Stringer shit about his skin folds, and then for Toby to start with the kind of the dig, and then for the Giants to come out and smash him, I'm like, oh, that's delicious. What a wonderful sousson. Oh, this swan tastes delicious tonight. What have you done? How have you prepared it?
Just seeing the broadcast of the Toby incident, he always just has to take things to that next level. You know what I mean? Like the whole Papley stuff. People talk trash on.
Are you talking about the elbow or the?
No, the comment at halftime calling Papley overweight. It's he always just, there was a lot of chat between them, people calling people fat, a lot of fat shaming in that game. But he to do it on the broadcast while we were getting, comprehensively beaten. The Swans looked incredible for that first half, annoyingly so. You just, every time you'd see them move the ball, you're like, superstar. And then to come out and just like to talk trash when you're down is just the height. I love that so much. And I love that the Giants have that attitude.
It's the jumper too. Like when they're playing in the Darth Vader jumper, it's something about it. Like you want them to be a bit nasty, talking shit, but then it's also the slice and dice of that third quarter. That's when people, like every team has their, I'll do my Kingy for a second. What's your brand? What's your DNA? And that's like, I think that's what people think of with the Giants is like, the orange tsunami, but it's just that run, great skill, long kicks, Jesse Hogan, just dominant forward. And it was beautiful to watch. But I do think that, if I was the Bulldogs or a Suns or one of those sort of bottom half of the 8 teams, you're like, I don't know, I want to come up against the Giants. I'd actually written the Giants off this year. You've probably been listening. I've
been hearing it and just writing in my journal.
Well, it's not that I've written them off. It's just there was a period from say like round 4 to 10 where you guys were just like middling along, and the performances weren't that impressive, but like a Big Brother contestant who's flown under the radar, you've just kind of got yourself kind of cherry ripe. Like it sort of feels like, oh, this could be.
Oddly enough, Oddly enough, we did it last year, exactly the same. Started the season on fire, dip in the middle, came back, winning 7 in a row to make finals. The year before that with Kingsley, same thing. Because we start at the Showground Stadium. We have a couple of games there now.
Of the Easter show.
And then we're off in Canberra and Tasmania and all over the place. And so we basically don't play at home from 4 till 6. And it always just kills the momentum of our season. And then all of a sudden we're flying back at the end of the season because we've got all these home games. It's a real problem that the Giants have, not being able to access their own home stadium for 6 weeks of the year. It really is. It kills the crowds and it kills the momentum of the season. So someone change that. But yeah, look, it's good to be cherry ripe at the right time of the year. I got to say, like, Cadman has come of age. Stringer's, skin folds are looking good and he's kicking 3 goals every game.
I didn't see that. You were when we were texting preseason, I was like, I don't know, like Jake Stringer, really? But I was wrong. He's exactly what you need. Just that mid-sized forward, takes the third defender. Like, it's perfect.
Yeah, it turns out, when he moved up to Sydney and stayed with fat-phobic Toby Green for 3 weeks, he lost.
Yeah, that's right. I think it was just
he's looking pretty fit now.
Yeah.
He has added a match. Look, I wasn't sure with him. I thought, look, the highs would be high and the lows would be low.
Yeah.
But the risk of pick 54 or 3, like, it was an easy gamble. So now we're sort of starting to see that game-breaking ability that he has. He is unbelievable up forward. Don't have to play him through the midfield, and he's lighting games up. He won us 2 games in a row, and that's why you get Jake Stringer in.
And then Finn Callahan, like, I mean, you're talking about midfielders. The Saints had a crack at him at the start of the year. I think they offered him I think the TD money that's going to TDK we offered to Finn first.
Yeah, I always think those numbers are blown up a little bit. It was supposed to be like 1.7 for 8 years or something.
I think front loaded, right? Like,
sure.
So, it's whatever over a 7-year period. So the first few years will be 1.7, but then it drops down to like 800, 900,000 in the back half. That's kind of how it works, isn't it?
Yeah, well, I don't think so. I think that because they know that the media rights is getting, I think it was 1.7 a year. I think that's what DeConning's going to. I mean, if you guys get DeConning, you keep Nas and you bring Lecalier in and get Max King and get King back. Geez, you guys look pretty good.
I still think we're a couple of years off. Like, I was thinking about watching the Adelaide Crows in the showdown, and it was like, so 2016, like that was, 2017, I guess, the year after they got flogged. Oh, sorry, 2018. And so it's been 7 years to get back to looking that good. And they were shit. Like, it's funny how quick you forget.
Yeah.
Like, because they're so good now that it's like, there was about 4 or 5 years where it's like, oh, geez, like, are Adelaide going to win a game again? What's going on? Are they cursed because of the leading teams thing? Or like, but now, collective minds, but you just look at them now, it's like, I reckon I've been the biggest holdout on Adelaide than any other team because I just maybe didn't want to believe it.
Yeah.
You just sort of see, like, that was in the wet, 100-point win almost in the wet with three tools up forward. Like, that doesn't happen. Riley Tilthorpe, that guy. Phil Seeker. He is, like, it's amazing what he can do now. He's the player that I thought we were getting with Max King, which is like a giant, skillful, mobile forward. But I reckon he's gone like way past even like Ben King. Like him and Sam Darcy, like would be probably the two in terms of like Jesse Hogan, I guess still, but the young guys, like what he can do for a big guy is ridiculous. And he's what, 22, 23? It's insane.
He's a bit sort of more strongly built than the Kings. They've got that kind of spidery, tall, but lanky. Still not too bad when the ball hits the ground. But he was like that
before his knee reconstruction.
He
was spindly, and then like he's just gone to the gym.
That's all you need is a knee reco to just spend a year in the gym, basically.
Yeah. So he looks incredible. But then you look at Port on the flip side, and you're like, I can't get a read of, is this just like, okay, it's the doldrums of handing over to a new coach? Because they still have some real gun players in there, like their midfield especially, and their backline's pretty solid. And Georgiades, but like, who knows? Like, who knows?
I've been off Port for 3-4 years. I've just thought I thought that the cliff was coming for them very quickly. I love their midfield, but their backline and forward line, just don't rate. I'm like, who are you kicking to? And Georgiades has been good, but you've got to have multiple options up there, right? So I just never thought that they kind of were coming, like doing the build correctly. While the Crows, you can see, like they took their time, they got their picks, they found the guys. And then at the end, they brought in those role players. They paid for, Cumming and Peatling last year from us. And, you see them, you go like, okay, those bottom 6 players that they've been struggling with, that they've been playing youth, now those guys have elevated and they just look, I mean, Worrell looks incredible now in the back line and everyone's sort of fine.
But how do you do a rebuild? Because like you look at North.
Well, you go for St Kilda. You don't know what
you look at North and I heard a stat today that like a third of that team are top 10 picks, which you would have thought, okay, if you'd gone to North fans 5 years ago and said, look, there's going to be some pain, but we're just going to stockpile draft picks and bring in triple 4-time premiership coach in Alistair Clarkson, you'd be like, okay, that seems like a good plan, but like, what's wrong with them? I don't understand.
I always thought that the first thing you should do if you think that you're about to hit a rebuild is draft tools at the top of the draft or a bunch of tools. And then because midfielders are much quicker to get up to pace, you should develop those tools at each end, that kind of spine. And then you can bring in those midfielders who seem to be able to come in and play at 18, 19 and be competitive. And they just didn't do it. They just, they drafted mids and mids and mids and mids. While, like the Giants early on, we drafted what? Jeremy Cameron, Patton, Lobb, McCarthy, Boyd. I mean, we had a lot of picks, but so did North. But and Jeremy Cameron, which was the one guy that really kind of turned into that guy. So it takes multiple kind of bites at the apple. That's why the Cadman pick was such a risk, right? That's why they didn't want to take him. They go, we don't want to whiff it with pick 2 or 3.
Yeah, it's fucking crazy, isn't it? Because I'd say the flip side for us is like we draft halfback flankers.
Yeah,
like
heaps of them.
Like the most useless fucking. I mean, I guess like Naz is maybe is the exception to that rule, but like Caulfield, Hunter Clark, they were all drafted as halfback flankers, and it's like when you are a mid-table, you're kind of fucked. Because
you guys have been in the exactly right. Because you're not going to get that elite talent at the very top. And then you're kind of not getting those like, oh, will they, won't they picks. You're sort of in that we have to take this guy because he's been consistent. I do think Taru and Dylan Travalia, those were great picks. I mean, Taru, I'm interested in hearing what you think he's like.
Taru,
what is he? Because he looks like Nick Haynes to me.
Yeah, well, no, I think he's more. Taru looks like he was designed in a lab by the heads of St Kilda. Like that is what St Kilda players look like. A flashy blonde who just like flies through the air. Like he's Trevor Barker. Like it's crazy. Yeah, wow. I mean, I'm old enough to remember what Trevor Barker was like. He was this undersized seven centre half back who played bigger than he was and was super courageous. And that's what you get with Taru. I mean, I was watching him today. Like he's still, game 6 or whatever, get physically pushed off the ball and all that kind of stuff. But what you cannot question, he gave away a 50, I think, last week and gave another one away today where he does that thing where he flies into a contest and if he gets there late, he doesn't pull up. He'll just go fuck it.
It just goes.
And I'm like, because there were Saints fans around us who were like, oh, come on. I'm like, you know what? Don't coach that out of him. He'll work it out and we'll get better. But his greatest gift is his aggression and his courageousness. He kicked his first goal today, which is great. I don't know what they see from him as in terms of position. I think where he'll probably sit is more like a Jeremy Howe type, just like a high-flying intercept defender. We still need a Lear to go with Cal Wilkie, maybe one other monster back. Yeah. And then you could have him sort of roaming and intercepting. Perfect replacement for Josh Bell.
With Lear and Taru, you guys are going to be getting a lot of mark of the year for the next sort of 4 years.
So do you think Lear is coming?
Yeah, I think so. I think he has to. What we've offered him so far is $800 over 2 years, which is, $400,000 contract, while you guys are offering double that for 4 years. So you can't begrudge him. He's stuck behind Buckley and Taylor.
Yeah.
And Himmelberg probably.
Yeah.
So, and unless you kind of move him into the ruck or forward, but we're stacked up there as well. You can't begrudge a player who, has been doing everything. I mean, he's great now that, Taylor's out for a couple of weeks and then Buckley's going to be out for a couple of weeks. He's perfect. Would love to keep him, but he's going to get 100% game time at St Kilda. He's going to make way more money. Like, what do you do? You just ask for a second round pick back, or if
you can't really begrudge.
Yeah,
You can't begrudge a fourth string. I mean, that was fucking Ben Long.
Yeah. My God.
You cry sometimes. Like Ben Long was in and out. We couldn't find a position for him. We just didn't know what he was. Is he like a half? We played him as a halfback flanker because that's what everyone is. They come to St Kilda play on the halfback flank. But there's always flashes. Like his very last game for us, he was best on ground, kicked 3, did exactly what he's doing at the Suns now. He played like a damaging enforcer, half forward type role.
He was great the other night.
We all kind of knew that he could do it, but he just never did it often enough. And then Gold Coast come with that Godfather deal like we're going to do to Alir. And it's like, all right, well, we can't really begrudge him. Alex, it's that time of the show where we do a vibe check.
Yeah.
You might have heard Adam Spencer was on a couple of weeks ago and was 8 for 8. Let's see if you can do the same thing. We'll start at the very top.
It would have to be Collingwood still.
It would be Collingwood. They are a 1 whole game clear of second spot. Second position is a mover. They have not been...
It's Adelaide. It's got to be Adelaide.
Adelaide Crows.
Yeah.
Third is a slider.
Geelong?
No. Big loss.
Oh, it's Brisbane. It's Brisbane. Sorry.
Brisbane Lions.
Of course.
In fourth, holding their position from last week.
That must be Geelong.
That's Geelong. Fucking Geelong.
I know.
They just set up camp in the top 4. It's like, and it's like they climb Everest. They just get to the top. They just set up their base camp on the top of Everest. They just like peel an apple and just slowly eat apple slices.
It's like the person, I don't know if you ever used to play Risk growing up, but there was always someone who set up in Australia and just put all of their defenses, in that one spot. And you're like, well, can't get to them.
Yeah.
Yeah. They are just so consistent. Every time we come up against them, we've had the wood over them for a few years now. But I mean, Jeremy Cameron coming out and kicking 11 this week is just brutal. So they'll be good. They'll be in the fires. They'll be in the
I'm
finals.
not sure if you heard, I went down to Cardinia GMHBA last
Jahumba.
week.
Yes.
With our friend Bart. Well, not with Bart, but Bart was there as well. And we were both commenting like how like you get the Geelong thing because it feels like you're at a country game. Like it has that same kind of intimacy and lack of pressure and almost like unanimous support. Like it was just, it was a fun day. Even as an opposition supporter sitting in the Geelong members, it was a good day of the football. Enjoyed myself. Like, could walk to the ground from the train station. It was fun.
Yeah, and the ground, they've been updating. It's got all the mod cons and everything.
Fucking chin-chins. Like, you can go to chin-chins. Like, Jesus Christ, I used to make fun of the SCG, but nothing compared to GMH.
Yeah, well, the SCG has like toddies or something like that in there as well. It's just ridiculous.
How do you like your sushi roll? Okay, who's in 5th position?
Okay, 5th.
Also holding steady from last week, if that's a help. In fact, the 8 has not changed from last week, so this might be...
Is it the Hawks?
It's the Hawks. Fucking Hawthorn.
Those fucking Hawks, man. They're doing my head in, but they might...
Yeah, like, I don't know, man. Look, if there's got to be a new villain, then I'm happy for it to be Hawthorn. I've never really disliked Hawthorn before. Like, even through the dominant period, I just admired them more than anything.
They just don't look as confident to me this year as they have in the past. So, but
it just kind of feels like, if not this year, then next year with Hawthorn.
Yeah,
like, it's just like, if you can set your watch to Geelong being in the top 4, you can set your watch to fucking Hawthorn winning a flag every 4 years.
I think the only thing that could kind of hold them back is their tall forwards, basically. They've got a lot of like mid-size. I don't think he's going to win you the cup. No.
I think once Mitch Lewis gets a few games in,
Mitch Lewis is good.
And Jack Gunston, we've been talking about him all year. Like, that's fucking ridiculous. Like, what is going on? Like, how old is he? Like, isn't he 60?
I don't know. You just never those. But every time he every time he takes a mark on like a 15-meter lead out to the white, every time you just go goal.
Yeah, he'll get that.
He's not going to miss that.
But is it a weird kind of Faustian bargain that like you will be one of the most decorated players, of all time, but because you played in a team surrounded by other decorated players, you won't even be in the conversation. Like,
look,
he's a 4-time premiership player, like over 300 games, like I don't know how many goals, but like tons and tons, like all Australian, I'm sure. And it's like he'll be a fucking footnote.
Yeah.
When people talk about Hawthorn's
little asterisk.
dominant era. Yeah. Oh, yeah. And by the way, Jack Gunston played till he was 70 years old.
You know what I honestly think? I think he sleeps beautifully. I don't think he's going to be racked with anxiety of being down the list a little bit, like, nah, the Hawks are a frustrating team. But their fans don't seem as up and about. So yeah, it'd be interesting to see this bottom half of the 8 is just, it's so alive at the moment that everyone's a little nervous, I think.
Yeah, I mean, Carlton, poor old Blues. I feel like, I only dipped in.
This has been an absolute the turnaround through the season of hearing you become basically a Blues truther, a Blueser. It's been really, really interesting.
Well, I've got a bit of mail relating specifically to that we'll get to at the end of the show. But I must admit, there was more fun in it for me, not just from a Schadenfreude point of view, but when they were angrier. They're a bit defeated now, the Blues fans. And it's just, I feel like all us teams who won't qualify for the finals now, it's like even today, there's just a bit of, can we just get this shit over and done? Like, I want to get my weekends back. I don't want to have to think about this anymore. And I think
that Saints crowd looked pretty up and about at the end of that one, I gotta say. That, at least that's a nice little tick for the end of the season. Mate, we can do it,
As soon as we finish recording, I'm going to go watch that last quarter. The only quarter worth watching today, and I wasn't there for it.
Oh, it's football, right? Well, I've got this thing. We do these watch parties out in Western Sydney for our podcast.
Are you still going to your dinner, by the way? Don't tell me that you've cancelled this dinner or anything.
No, I haven't cancelled it. My girlfriend's birthday dinner. No, I haven't cancelled it.
You know what? Well, if you had led with that, I would.
It's okay. It's all right. It's all right. She understands. She watched all the best marks and goals since 2001 last night.
Is that her present? Happy birthday. Here's a compilation of the greatest marks the last 20 years in a sport you don't watch.
I'm leaving you.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, all good. What are you talking about?
What were we talking about?
You're watching that, of course. You leave, and of course, that's football. It has to. That's the deal.
I mean, I was actually sort of joking with the guys I went with that I was like, I bet you I'll leave, and because my thing is always like, especially when we're playing shit, if we can just get a run, if we can kick 2 goals in a row, then I'm a believer again. Just what are they called? Sequential goals. That's the thing that gets me back. And there was no sequential goals in that third quarter. So I'm like, all right, well, I'm not sticking around for this shit.
Do you have any other sort of superstitions? I remember what I was talking about before. We do this kind of watch parties out in Western Sydney.
Oh, yeah.
And there's become this tradition that every time Hogan takes a mark in the forward 50, I have to go stand in the corner with my head to the thing. And it has worked 19 out of 20 times.
Like the end of Blair Witch Project. 100%. You're just facing the wall.
And I'm not allowed to look at the reflections. I have to sit there with my head down. And every time he takes a mark, people start yelling at me, get in the corner.
That's fucking quantum physics, brother.
Yeah,
like, that is Schrodinger's cat. It's just like, like the observed shot for goal it's neither a goal nor a miss. Well, you're not looking at it, but as soon as it's observed, it converts into a goal or a miss. So that's a scientific basis behind it. Yeah, if I leave the room and we get a run on, like I'm watching on TV, I'll stay out of the room.
Yep.
I often will.
Toilet break? Are you using the toilet break?
Yes.
I won't look. If we're struggling and we're kind of behind, I'll be like, I'm gonna go to the toilet. Something has to change.
Yeah. And sometimes what I'll do if we're down, say early in a game, is I will turn it off and I'll do something else for like 20 minutes and see if maybe a reset, if I physically reset, that I'll come back and it'll be a different result.
So there is a point to be made that if you hadn't have left,
we might have lost.
Exactly.
That's true. I mean, the first I knew about the comeback was you texting me with 5 minutes to go with the eyeballs emoji. And I'm like, hang on. Because I was just so despondent. I was not listening to anything. I just was like on the tram back to my hotel. And then I get the eyeball emoji and I'm like, fuck off. And to be honest, when I looked at the eyeball emoji, I think it was 2 goals. Does that sound right? We're about... Yeah. And I'm 2 goals. I'm like, well, maybe still
3.
2 goals.
I think it was 3 goals by that point. It was
3 goals down with 6 minutes. That's still a long way. And then I think they even kicked a goal. And I was like, okay, well, But then I put my phone away and then the buzzers start happening. As the most public representative of the Saints amongst my group of friends, if a game is on and my phone is going ape shit, it's either great news or terrible news.
Very, very. It's normally very, very bad.
Again, it was Schrodinger's phone. It's like, do I check the phone? Because in this moment, they may have lost. In this moment, they may have won. Yeah, I had so many people. Like, I'm gonna name and shame because these have all been guests on the show before. Michael Chamberlain, please tell me you didn't leave the game early. And Meadows, tell me you didn't leave at 3/4 time. Alex Williams, tell me you didn't leave.
Yep.
It's like, yes, motherfuckers, I left because I thought I had to. Well, I do because it's your girlfriend's birthday and I don't want to ruin that. Like, one day felt like it was ruined. I didn't want to ruin your day
You're
as
so
well.
kind. You're so kind.
All right. Vibe check. Where are we at? So we named the Hawk. Who's in sixth?
6. It might be us, the Giants.
It is.
The mighty Giants.
You.
Big sound, baby.
It is you. And then 2 winners round out 7 and 8.
The Suns have a game in hand, so that might put them. So it'd be Freo.
Freo in 7th.
Freo at 7th. Suns
in 8th. And then the only other mathematical chance are the Bulldogs.
Bulldogs, yes. Who we have on Thursday night.
But they're effectively 2 games out of the 8 now. Because, like you say, the Suns have a game in hand. So they're 2 games behind Freo and they're 1 game behind the Suns, but the Suns have that extra game up their sleeve. The flat track Bulldogs.
Yeah.
I mean, it's amazing how good they are against shit teams, isn't it?
Just incredible. It's just incredible. I mean, we've got 3 outs against them on Thursday night. Josh Kelly's out, Buckley's out, and Toby's suspended just for something. I actually
Congratulations. Round of applause for Toby too. I think he's the most suspended.
Yeah, well done.
Officially surpassed David Rees-Jones as the most suspended player in the history of the AFL.
Look, I think it's actually a good play because I reckon Toby's been trying to get suspended since the West Coast game, since after the bye. He has been on an aggressive tear. And I think taking himself out of the Bulldogs game against Bontempelli may have saved the rest of his season. So I think
this is a tactical
4D chess.
Yeah,
it's 4D chess.
Yeah,
he doesn't sound like the most intelligent guy going around, but he knows how he's playing it. But it's interesting. I think you'll get a good look at Lecalier because I think he's probably the only person in the AFL who has a vertical leap high enough to get to where Sam Darcy marks the ball.
Yeah, Jesus Christ. It is insane, right?
Unreal.
If you're a Bulldogs like midfielder delivering the forward line, you'd aim for the top of the goalpost because chances are like that's where he's going to take it, right? Just kick it as high as you can. Don't lower your eyes. Raise your eyes.
Yeah, raise them. Raise them. Lose the head. Lose the head.
Now, I just need to bring this up. Like, apologies to Adam Spencer. He is a friend of the show, but I did feel this was like a very salty text. He does open it with some flowers. He says, GWS, far too good and thoroughly deserved win. Fun fact, that is Toby's 16th suspension. If he was playing club or country football, he would be deregistered and banned for a year. I don't think that's the case. This
is such fucking Swans shit, man.
Oh, Swans propaganda?
This is unbelievable. Like, what a fucking
this is
loser.
This is what we
deregistered.
need.
He's not playing country football, mate.
This is what we need, though. We need some more of this rivalry because the Battle of the Bridge, the rivalry hasn't been spicy enough yet. But this is good. If we can get you and Adam Spencer beefing, this is good for the game.
Look, there was a fair bit of chat in the crowd. I'll tell you that much.
Was there?
Yeah. There was a lot going on. You know, mostly me, but.
So, because when we did our rivals last year, like it was fairly undercooked, the Giants. It seemed to be mainly from the Giants resenting the Swans, but they're biting back now, are they?
I don't know about that. I think the first 3 finals we played against them, we beat them. So I think that for a while there, they were a little bit kind of like, this isn't great for us. Then they beat us. Had the wood over us in the last 2 years, and then we've won that one. So I don't know if it's a understated rivalry. I feel like a lot of Swans fans don't come out to Giant Stadium, and a lot of Giants fans don't go to Swans Stadium, the SCG. So you kind of like, you don't really get it at the ground as much. But I don't know. I feel like it's there. Maybe not as big as the Dogs one for us, but it's certainly there.
As an outsider and someone who spent quite a bit of time with both Giants and Swan supporters, here's my take. Here's my uninformed take.
Here we go.
Like, I think Swans fans have had it really good for a really long time, and deservedly so. Paul Roos came in and just fucking righted the ship, made them a super professional team, super professional club. But I do think there is a younger generation of Swans fans who do not appreciate where the Swans have came from, like the dark days of the 90s when Ron Barassi was sent up on a rescue mission, and then Rodney Eden getting Plugger and all that kind of stuff, which is real. That's the kind of heart and soul of that Bloods kind of culture coming from South Melbourne. And so they look at the Giants as being this kind of AFL startup, which it is. It's an expansion team and they get a lot of money from the AFL and stuff. But I think it is disregarding the culture of the supporters at the Giants, because in my experience, Giants fans are like legit. They are real. They're either expats who just love the game, or they're people who are willing to learn, but they're passionate and they're real footy fans.
Yeah.
And I think that the knock on their crowd size and stuff, which I've been guilty of, and mate, we get so many fucking letters from Giants fans when we criticize they pipe in fake crowd sounds in. It's the cameras are on the same side as the members. That's why you can hear it.
They roll out that line a fair bit.
Yeah. So they are defensive, but I think that there is just Swans fans do not appreciate how passionate Giants fans are, and that they're not just kind of like fly-by-nighters, or, it's not like a boy band manufactured fanfare. These are people who are like, I've made a conscious decision to follow this new team and I fucking love them.
Yeah. Well, I think as well, what we've learned from doing the podcast.
Sorry, your mic has just gotten super hot. Did you?
I didn't do anything.
No, that must be me. Sorry. Keep going.
The big thing I've learned from doing the podcast, doing these histories of all the teams and teaching my friend from Western Sydney, Brandon, about the game is that, look, they're all startups. You just got to start somewhere, right? Like the difference between us and Adelaide is, it's negligible in the distance between when Melbourne and Geelong started, which is negligible in the difference between when the Tigers came in. It's like, hey, look, things have to start in a place. And what I will say about Western Sydney and going out to the Guildford Hotel, which we do, and, random supporters coming is that people from Western Sydney are sports fans. They're massive, massive sports fans. So you get them into the Giants, they will be all in. They will be all in, and it's actually awesome to see, because once they get that touch and they get that kind of spark of interest, they're super passionate. It's great. The crowds out there are so informed, so good. It's a very different vibe to a Swans game, though. A Swans game is like, Daddy's got 4 memberships and we'll go to Toddy's before the game. We'll get pictures.
Yeah, there's definitely that kind of corporate Sydney.
And I think as well, because it is an event, you come to like, there's a lot of, tourists go to Swans games, and I'm not taking away, like, there are mad Bloods fans. It's just a very different energy, like the Giants aren't the biggest show in town, but it's growing and things take time. And I think that, like, the 14,000 people that go to every home Giants fan, that'll grow. The stadium only holds like 22. So in a couple of, maybe 10 years, it'll be packed every game. And
so how important is it to win a flag then? Like, what do you think that will do for either in growing the fan base, or at least locking in the fans you already have?
I think the fans that we already have are probably locked in just because of how successful we've been over that first period. COVID stuffed us really badly. Like the crowd sizes dropped, the interest dropped. And then Kingsley's game style and plan has kind of you're starting to see it really ramp up again.
Come see the guns.
Got to see the guns.
You got to see those pipes. Like, who cares what's happening on the field? Just look at those. Look at the bicep, the tricep. It's just perfectly balanced.
Yeah, he didn't just invest in chest. He bought the whole company. He's an absolute monster. I mean, also, I don't know if you watched the whole game the other day, but like at halftime, there were a lot of reports that the spray they got at halftime was all time.
Yeah. There's like 6 different players talked about it. It was like so much for keeping in the inner sanctum. It's like, no, he yelled at me. No, he yelled at me too.
And then in the post match, he kind of goes, I had positive affirmations.
I saw that.
I reaffirmed the roles. And I'm like, I'm cut to.
It just reminded them of the key principles of the team.
They're doing pricks. A doco at the moment, and I'm like, that's. I mean, it's coming out. We're going to see it. So I'm excited for that. But it is. Look, it felt really good knocking the Swans out of finals, if I'm honest. It was one team that, they were still sort of saying we're a mathematical chance. The Bulldogs this Thursday night can knock them out of finals as well. Those are 2 of our kind of big bogey teams, rivals. Do you
still have that rivalry with the Dogs? Is that still, or is that sort of softened a bit?
It's definitely lessened. Yeah, I feel like it's softened off a bit. Haven't met them in a final for a while, so I feel like that's a bit.
Yeah, and the other sort of strength of the Giants is obviously, like, your social media is elite, like probably the best social media team in the AFL. And what was the one they posted where it was like hexagon, pentagon, season gone.
Yeah, Jacob does some good work, I got to say. I'd love to see his draft folders. They would be brimming, absolutely brimming. So, yeah. It's pretty exciting the end of the season. Like one team is going to be very, very unlucky to miss out.
Yeah, I disagree. I think it's exciting for I think last year there was more interest in who's going to make finals, but it's felt pretty set for the last 3 or 4 weeks.
You don't think the Dogs can make it?
I don't think so. I just feel, well, I mean, yeah, they can make it, but I don't think they will. I just think that you need, I'm just going to fuck it. I'm going to say it and then they'll barnstorm into the final. So yeah, I don't think the Dogs can make it. No, I'm going to put the two guys, one cup kiss, two guys, one kiss on the Bulldogs. Who haven't we talked about? Okay, the Suns. Cannot talk highly enough about Noah Anderson. What a gun this kid is, and how his father played almost 100 games for St Kilda. But,
no way, I didn't know that.
Fell short by like 18. I think he played like just 82 games or something for the Dean Anderson. But like when Raul and Anderson came in, we loved the adorable, the buddy cop thing of, they're like chalk and cheese. But now it's like,
yeah, they were chewing on grass and hanging out at the milk shop. It was good stuff.
But now it's like
collecting footies.
This is like fucking Pippen and Jordan. It's just like you got your crash and bash inside mid, and then you got your silky captain on the outside. And look, it won't be this year. I can't see the Suns will make finals this year, but I don't think it's going to be a run on the flag or anything like that. But man, like if they can get some momentum going in the next couple of years, like who knows? And this idea of like Charlie Curnow talking about wanting to get out. The more that the game sort of stabilizes and grows in these new markets, the more I think you're going to see guys like that who want out of Collingwood or want out of Carlton or Richmond or these big Victorian clubs where, every fucking page is on you, because you wouldn't want to go to WA because then you become Harley Reid or, Adelaide, you become just the focus of their two newspapers. Whereas in Queensland, why wouldn't you want it? You still get to play footy. It's warm. Yeah. You're getting paid pretty well up there. Like, I think it's a pretty attractive, because especially for a cat like Charlie, who doesn't strike me as like a footy nerd. I think he's good at football and a great athlete, but he doesn't strike me as a guy where it's like, he lives and breathes footy.
Yeah, it's interesting because in Queensland he's just a tall guy, like he's just a tall guy. He probably plays something, maybe. Maybe in a band. Yeah, it's the same. It's the same in Sydney. Like, Jesse Hogan, I saw him at the golf course the other day. Like he's just cruising around and no one's going up to him, no one's bothering him. It's it's most of them. So I think especially with the Giants, like most of the Giants players, if they were out at a bar and someone's like, what do you do? They'd be like, oh, I play footy. They're like, oh, do you play for the Swans? And they'd be like, no. And then they would go, oh, so you don't play AFL? Or, like I feel like that's the kind of vibe that we get up here. So I think it's a weapon. I mean, look at how Geelong has sort of turned that into their whole recruiting strategy. It's and that and cotton on and brown paper bags. But it's
totally. But also, like, if you look at the Giants, like it's funny, Giants have almost replaced Sydney as the team that you go to rehab. We'll take your your broken toys and we'll put them back together and get them back.
We'll give you a pick in the 50s for Jesse Hogan and
Jake Stringer. But that's attractive too, right? Like, if you are going to be a player like, say, Mackay comes out of contract in a couple of years or whatever, and it's like, he's 29. Go to GWS, go to the Suns. Why not? Like, you can, it's almost like you get to restart your career, but with less pressure. Like that would be, I've been in Melbourne for the past 2 weeks now, and I don't know if I'd forgotten, but being reminded of just how fucking crazy this city is for football.
It's like, nuts.
It's nuts. Beautiful.
Yeah.
It's awesome. I love every weekend feels like it's a festival because everyone's got their scarves on, and you can sort of, because sometimes I forget what games are happening when, but I can, it's like, a bushman will look up at the sun to find out what time it is. It's like, oh, Richmond are playing the Tigers at the MCG because these guys are getting on the number 96 tram. Like it's
You're the water diviner. You're kind of going around with
it. It's the most Melbourne experience. Quickly touch on Freo because Western Australians get upset when we don't talk about their games. Harley Reid injured. Boo, not good. I hope he signs on. I know like the Saints and a bunch of other clubs are chasing him, but that would be as big a signature as Naz is for St Kilda, Harley Reid is for the Eagles.
I just
And
think if you lose Harley at this point, you're basically starting the rebuild again.
Yes.
You know,
Yeah,
they
but
started it too late in the first place. They've split picks, whiffed picks, and Harley Reid's the kind of one that they can build around. And if they lose him, and say they get, you know, Essendon's 5 and 6 or something along those, you've still got to make those picks work. You know, like they're not guaranteed, as a St Kilda fan would know. But like you just
Thanks,
I
mate.
just
Nice
feel
drive by.
it had to be done. But I feel like keeping him there, like if you're him, you're not going to go to, you know, you're not going to go to Richmond probably.
Or North.
They probably don't need you. North, no, they don't need you. They've got guys in that range. I just think I went to the game actually in Perth a few weeks ago when we played them. And it is amazing. 40,000 fans, brand new stadium. 26-0, a slight holding the ball call, and the whole stadium goes up. They are still locked in.
Right.
They're rabid, and it's good to see. And I think if they lose him, I don't think they will.
Yeah. And what about Freo fans? Like, do you dare to dream now? Like, I'm definitely on the Freo bandwagon. Like, now that the Saints can't make it, looks like the Dogs won't make it. I'd love the Giants to get there as well. But I think in terms of romanticism, I don't know if is romanticism a word.
Yeah.
I think it is. Yeah, okay, great. I would love to see Freo get there. But what do you think? Like, they're still in the bottom half of the 8. Like, they're winning and they're looking pretty good. But you forget that they're young. Like, it sort of feels like this has been coming for a while, that maybe they need a couple of years of playing finals like the Lions did before they can actually start to challenge.
Maybe. I think it's a big confidence thing with them. I really didn't think that JL had the game plan to make it happen. I think their list is incredible. Midfield.
Oh, you're talking about that the casual coach.
Yeah.
An hourly rate.
Well, he's on a weekly. Yeah, he's sort of just depends. Yeah, I think that is very strange as well, to be fair. Like,
yeah, it's so fucking weird.
They won't play him payee. He's got to be through, you know, like his ABN. Yeah, I think their list is probably up there with the best in the league. So especially now that Shai's, you know, playing midfield and looks unbelievable. Tracy's great. Even Voss coming through and just being like another big pillar up forward. Yeah,
I love. He's got that strut too, doesn't he? Of like a kind of a key forward, like a bit like a young Jesse Hogan, really. Like he just, you know, does not mind physical contact and celebrating a goal.
No, I think he likes it a lot.
Yeah.
Well, I like them. I just think that we haven't seen. I just wonder what they look like in a final. As far as all the other teams, you look at like Brisbane, Geelong, Collingwood. They've been playing finals for the last 4 years. Kind of what you were saying about what you're saying about Brisbane. And the same with us. You know, we've had a lot of finals experience, and even our young guys have. And I just wonder what that looks like for them and Adelaide. I think those are the two teams where you go like, they've been fantastic, but I wonder what it looks like in a final when the real heat's on and the pressure's on. But Saints and the Dockers are kind of my two teams that I follow, you know, closely behind the Giants. So I kind of want them to do pretty well.
All right, we should have talked about the Collingwood Richmond game, but it's too late. We ran out of time, and who really? No one was surprised by that. Richmond, great season, well done. Yeah. Hats off to you. No matter what happens now, it's been a great season. Collingwood, get fucked.
I would agree with all of that.
Okay, a couple of letters here. This is the one I was alluding to before. This came in from Dom. G'day, guys. Just a word of caution. I feel your recent attitude towards Carlton has skewed into dangerous territory. As a D's fan, condolences, mate, I should sympathise with them. As for a while, we were quite similar on paper, down and out Vic teams that used to be powerhouses before the turn of the century. But this is the same fan base that called for the trade of Patrick Cripps before winning his first Brownlow, called for the sacking of Brett Ratton only to get a washed-up Malthouse, and now want to get rid of their most successful coach since the turn of the century. I don't recall Freo or St Kilda calling for Pavlich or Revolt to be traded because they didn't win their grand finals. Well, I don't think that anyone's called for Cripps to be traded since he became a Brownlow.
No, I don't think so.
Just back while he's injured. Remember who Carlton fans are. They are annoying.
This is getting a little bit, yep, okay.
They are annoying and overall arrogant, who thought that making the prelim in 2023 entitled them to have won a flag by now, and that they actually deserved it. There have been plenty of teams who have deserved to win but never did. Victoria and the AFL as a whole cannot live with both Carlton and Collingwood being successful at the same time. That would be unbearable. That's some kind of dystopian vision of the future. I'm terrified that could happen again. Do not let their terrible performances garner sympathy. Just keep listening to fans like Snapper, as they seem to represent this entitled fan base that think they deserve a flag because it's been 30 years. How about supporting a club that didn't win a flag for nearly 60 years? Carlton are a sleeping giant preying on your sympathy, as they will turn on a dime and become the insufferable Carlton we know and love. Yes, look, I am completely aware of that. And I went to the footy last week with Broden to watch the D's and the Blues, and hearing their fans go da 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 was enough to me going, fuck this, I'm out. I don't want this. I just like Terry. I like Terry, and I like the people who listen to it. He's emotionally self-aware, intelligent guests who call in and try and sort of ruminate about the curse of fandom. That's what I appreciate about Carlton fans.
Not all Carlton supporters, you know, not all Carlton supporters. I think you know, like we've got to understand there's good people and bad people at every club. Like as before, we were talking about how good Giant supporters are. There's not a lot of you don't get a lot of bad stuff or people getting aggro in the crowd or anything like that. I have been at a game where a Giant supporter got kicked out, surrounded by Pie supporters, and he deserved to. So, everyone, we've all got
every club
there's
has
a few bad eggs,
dickheads.
man.
100%.
It's going to happen. But I will say that I think that email kind of just felt like Dom needed to get some stuff off his chest.
I don't think after what happened today, I don't think Dom's going to be feeling that great.
I don't think he's writing in for a while.
I don't think Dom will be listening to this podcast as a D supporter. Last one, this came in from John. It's more a question for me, but you feel free to contribute. Hey, I was just after Charlie's take on why St Kilda are after TDK. As a Cats fan, I don't watch many Saints games, but Rowan Marshall looks to be a much better ruckman than TDK. Also, I'm just as surprised that Reece Stanley is still playing, as I call him, the Crypt Keeper. Then we'll drive by for Reece. The simple reason is Ron Marshall is 29. We're looking to build a list that's going to play, for the next 10 years or so. I also think we have the money to spend, and he's probably the best free agent that's on the market at the moment. This is what a lot of people have misunderstood. Is why are they offering him all that money? Because we can pay him that, and we can pay Naz 1.4, and we can also pay Licalier almost $1 million, and we still haven't spent our cap for this year. So why wouldn't you go for it?
You have to spend a percentage of your cap. So if you're not, there's kind of no point. You just got to throw money at someone else that probably...
Sure. If it was 1.5 each to Naz and TDK, it'd also be fine. If it was 1.7 to Naz and 1.3 to TDK, it'd also be fine. We have to spend the money. But I also think it's important that we land one of these fucking big fish as a signal to other players that, okay, maybe there's something going on at St Kilda, because you don't want to be, as Will has said in the past, that guy at the strip club who keeps waving money around and can't get anyone to give you a lap dance.
I also don't agree that Rowan Marshall's a better ruck than TDK. Watched a lot of Saints games, and then watching us play Carlton earlier in the year, he was the one that was doing the damage against us. He's got that mobile Luke Jackson kind of style
100%.
That I think if you pair with a crash and bash ruckman like Marshall, I also think Marshall's a pretty handy forward. So if you're going to play two rucks, that's the perfect combo.
Yeah, he was drafted as a forward, and he's a really good shot at goal. And I think that they'll probably try playing him in tandem, see if they can actually crack that two ruck code, which is great because it seems like Michael Voss has been playing TDK up forward for us. So I feel like he's been getting some good practice in the forward line. Okay, that's the episode for this week. You have to go take your girlfriend out for a lovely birthday dinner. All jokes aside, I'm glad that we could get this done and that you could get your birthday dinner done, and I could miss out on the Saints' greatest comeback in the last 10 years. No problem.
That's good content.
But before you do go, Alex, can you plug your very excellent podcast, They Might Become Giants?
Yeah, absolutely. I started a podcast at the start of last year with my friend Brandon McClelland, who's an actor as well, and he is a big NRL supporter. So the whole idea was to get him across and get him into the Giants, and then teach him about the history of AFL. So each episode we do kind of a whole history segment about, and he sort of chimes in about a different person that sort of relates to that week. So this week we're playing the Dogs, so we're doing Witten. We're doing Ted Witten. So they're really good fun. They're kind of the basis of the podcast. So give it a listen. It's called They Might Become Giants, wherever you get your podcasts.
Well, we'll put a link in the show notes. But Alex, thanks for coming to the show. I'm sure we'll speak again by the end of the year in finals time. Might even have to get you down for a grand final show.
Yeah, look, we'll see. I'll be in the corner. I'll be sitting in the corner waiting for Jesse to kick the goals.
All right, that is 2 Guys, 1 Cup for this week. Play on, not 15.
Descent.
Great.
Little footy loving dickheads. may never win 2 flags in 100 years. The shit house. If you think we'll be insightful, clever, or just well researched, we're here to say that's not the case. We'll just go out and wing it. We are 2 guys, 1 cup.